Well, this afternoon I'm in Lake Worth and I'm near the inlet, so I'm going to head over to the Abacos via Memory Rock.
Take a walk down by the sea, picking up colored shells in the sand.
So far it's been a hell of a ride. I'm only 2 hours out of the inlet. First thing that happened to me when I passed the sea buoys, I tried to raise the mainsail and the halyard got caught on the steaming light. I had a hell of a time getting that off. There was quite a bit of waves, not even in the Gulf Stream yet. And I had to climb up onto the sail pack and kind of throw the rope over the steaming light. It was a miracle that I got it off. And then there's waves coming from the south, there's swell coming from the north. And wind is not cooperating. Like right now it's 120 coming for 120 degrees, but sometimes it dips down to 180, so you're almost doing an accidental jibe, so you gotta watch that. Well, it's 11 o'clock at night. I made it through Memory Rock around 10, and so I've been traveling for about an hour now. Got about 6 or 10 feet of water under the keel, so that's nice. And it's definitely calmed down on the bank. There's a northern wind, so it's on the beam. I don't have the sails up right now, I just don't want to mess with that. There's not that much wind there to be bothered with. Just motor on and try to get to my destination. When I was coming into Memory Rock though, as it gets very shallow, I was getting these following seas and I was so worried that the boat, there would be breaking waves and the boat would broach. So I took down the main, and I think that was a smart idea because I could have got some gusts of wind on the beam and could have turned the boat around. With these breaking waves, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and it wasn't too bad, but it's a narrow pass and it does get very shallow very quickly. Well, I had a rocky night on anchor last night. I thought the winds were going to veer over to the east, and no, they're coming from the northwest, which is fine. It's good for sailing, and so that's Great Turtle Cay over here. I'm not going to go too close to it. It's still not cleared in yet, so I'm not supposed to go ashore until I get to customs. So Green Turtle Cay, here I come. Well, let me share my experience owning a 40 plus Veneto. So this is the charter version, Sealight 43, and the sails are supposed to be light, like they're laminated sails, and I'll tell you, it's a slog trying to get the main up, and then the jib, you have to furl it in and furl it out. Like, it sticks. Like, I don't know, I've talked to another person with that same furling system and they said they had the same problem. So I can't seem to figure out if it needs to be oiled or what, but it's really stiff. So it really plays you out. For single handing, you know, a 30 footer, 35 or 34 footer would be optimal, but a 40 plus sailboat, that's big for single handing. That's probably why, you know, we do a lot of motoring. It's easier just to fire up the old engine, and it's just a short little jog. Just it's easier just to motor. The reason we went with this particular boat was my wife had a requirement for a shower with no shower curtain. She wanted a door. So we started brainstorming, and we come up with the idea of well, we seen this boat, and we just took the washroom or the toilet out of one of the washrooms, and there you go, you've got a shower. So that worked out. And then that leaves you with 2 bathrooms. So that's plenty. But it is a large boat, and it turned out that it had a deeper draft than we wanted. The owner that sold it to us said it had a 5.5 foot draft. Well, it turns out it has 6 feet 4 inches. So that's not ideal for doing the ICW. But we made it. We only got stuck a couple times. So yeah, this is it's a lot of work. Like, if you're only 130 pounds, I would not do this. It's the sails are just too heavy, and you just burn yourself out. If you know you had an extra 100 pounds on you, and you had big arms, you could throw those sails up no problem. But the main just appears that you just gotta winch the sucker up when you're lacking in strength. So here's some comments about being at West Palm Beach for over 2 weeks. We were waiting around to pick up some documents. My mother mailed me something, so I had to wait for that. And then we decided, okay, well, we're gonna do a life raft, so wait for the life raft. And then there's always things, it's like, oh, I need more oil filters, or I need more fuel filters. Okay, now I gotta order that. Oh, no, I need a fishing rod. So it was just endless. So I just had to get out of West Palm Beach. And I took the first weather window, which really wasn't optimal. There was a strong westerly, and then waves coming from the north, waves coming from the south, and then the waves from the west started to build. So it was kind of rough. And then, of course, coming onto the bank, I was nervous about that there was going to be some breaking waves. I've never came onto a bank at night. Actually, this is the first time I've ever came onto a bank like that. So it got shallow very quickly. Well, back to West Palm Beach. There's a lot of homeless people sleeping on the streets, beggars on the streets, and so I can't really say it's dangerous. There is a lot of security during the day. I don't really see anything at night. It seems to be over-policed during the day. And it's noisy. We were anchored out right at the public dock. And at one time we could get water on one of the docks, but a derelict boat pulled up and tied up right beside the tap, so I couldn't get any water anymore. It was just too dangerous to come too close to his boat. So yeah, there is some shady characters, some derelict boats around there. But for a week or two, that was plenty enough for Palm Beach. So what motivated me to get into sailing? A co-worker of mine bought a little Tanzer, and so I went out with him, and you know, we got on this boat and we did some docking, and he didn't know anything about sailing. So I thought, well, I'm gonna go take a sailing course. So I did a 2-week sailing course, or sorry, 2-weekend. It was some adult cruising sailing thing offered by, I can't remember who it was, but it was Canadian Standard or something. So I did that, and the boat we practiced on was a CNC 27. So it was quite small, but a good starter boat, I would say. And I just loved it. Like we'd get up on the bow, and the wind and the waves were just, I felt like I was kind of like on a roller coaster because of the movement, and I just love that. I love that movement. And that's when I fell in love with it. And then I asked my wife, I said, hey, what are you a boater? Like, have you been on a boat before? She says, oh yeah, I was on a boat since I was a kid. And well, what about seasickness? Oh no, I've never had a problem. Okay. So I'm looking for boats then, looking around. So I found this 30-footer, this Mirage 30, and it needed some work. You know, needed a bottom job. The keel there was some material flaking off the keel, so I knew I needed to do a bottom job. Anyways, I got that Mirage 30 and sailed that for, I think it was 3 years. Sailed a lot of the Lake Ontario, and then I got thinking, well, why don't we live on a boat? So we sold our house, sold our car, and then got this 43-foot Veneto, this Gladys, and we started living on it. And then our plan was to go to Florida, and that's you know, we made it down to Florida. Now Maite, she's off visiting her family right now in Cuba, so I decided to single hand over to the Bahamas, and she'll probably fly over whenever she's ready to. She didn't want to make the crossing, and I'm glad she wasn't here, because that was kind of rough, and I was nervous. I've never done anything like that before, and yeah, it was nerve-wracking. But anyways, I got into watching YouTube and watching all the different lifestyles people have, and it looks all rosy, but I'll tell you, it is difficult. And we're new cruisers. Like, we're just getting into the Caribbean. I have no idea what it's going to be like. There's going to be new experiences every day. And one of the biggest things is lack of data. I'm a big data streamer. I watch CNN, I watch Netflix, and those days are probably gone. I mean, I'll probably get a data plan, but it'll be limited to certain, 1 gig, 2 gig or whatever, and then you're out, right? So yeah, that's going to be a huge adjustment. I think I do need a change, and that remains to be seen. We're still new in this cruising lifestyle, so stay tuned on that. Looking back on the trip from Lake Ontario, Whitby is just east of Toronto, and getting all the way to Florida. So we did the canals down to New York City, and then offshore, and then finally we got into the ICW. It was a lot of work and a lot of motoring. I don't know, 80% motoring maybe. And luckily this boat motors quite fast. You can easily do 8 knots. But it took so long, and it was cold, and we left in the end of September. Some people leave later, but we had to. There was some early closures on the canal, so that's why we had to leave when we did. In later years, or earlier years, you could delay it and leave later in the season, so that you could bypass the hurricane season. Luckily, we didn't run into any hurricanes when we were going down the coast. So yeah, Maite said, I don't ever want to do that ICW trip again. And I have to agree with her. That was a long freaking trip. I must say there was a huge pucker factor when I was coming on to the banks last night around 10. The waves that were following me, I was kind of surfing down them, and I couldn't see nothing, of course, so I really couldn't tell how bad it was, but I knew that there was some huge falling waves, because this is not a small boat, and it was pushing me pretty good. And I really didn't know what effects that was going to have when I crossed the bank, so I sighed a huge relief when I was in like 10 feet of water. But even then, once I got to onto the bank, there was still some rocking motion. It's hard to believe, because when you're looking at navionics, and like I look at navionics every day. Like, I just love to explore the web version as well. You're looking at it, and it's almost like there's land there. Like, it's just, you can see the different contours, and that's how you're looking at things. But when you're in the Bahamas here, it's like you're looking at the chart, and then you look around, it's like, oh, there's nothing here. That's why I could see all these boats last night. They were either cargo or fishing, and here they are out in the middle of nowhere. It's pitch black. I could hear them, the chatter on the VHF radio, and this place was there's lots of activity going on. So I guess they must do their cargo runs at different times. Maybe nighttime is the best time to do it. So I'm not going to reach Green Turtle Cay until sometime after 2, but I'll just show you what's going on out here. Well, I'm almost at Green Turtle, but another hour and a half to go. Still motoring, there's very little wind. It's very calm seas, so. And we got some sun. So it was actually getting quite warm there about an hour and a half ago. So I need some sun. I've got my quarantine flag up, and the customs office closes at 3:30, so I'm not going to make that today. I'll go there tomorrow. at Green Turtle Cay today. It was really windy and some good chop coming off the east coast of Green Turtle. So I think I'm in a fairly good anchoring spot. And I was a bit concerned with the dinghy because I've just got an 8.5 foot dinghy. But I got these, I guess they're called planing boards or trim tabs or whatever. They're manual, so anyways, they're on the back of the boat. It helps keep the bow of the boat down. And with 6 horsepower four-stroke, I'm able to get up on plane. And I just flew over the waves and not really any problem. Like, there was 15 gusting to 25. And I blasted into the public dock. And then I found the post office. That's right beside that is where customs is, and checked in. $300 later for a 3-month stay permit. Comes with comes with a fishing license, and she said that I can use a spear pole. So that's good. I got a spear pole. I got a couple fishing rods. So yeah, so now I can legally fish. So I'm gonna give that a try. Took a walk around town and got internet access, just a data plan. I didn't get the cell service. I got a 15 gig per month data plan. And then I went and found a restaurant and had lunch and tried the first time I ever tried conch. So fried conch, lightly seasoned in flour with some awesome coleslaw and peas and rice. So it was good lunch, and people are generally very friendly. Like, you're walking down the street and people are waving to you. Everybody's got a little golf cart here. That's the thing here, golf carts. I was walking because there's no point. I didn't really have far to go. Anyways, I needed to stretch my legs because I'll tell you, my back is killing me from all this sitting. Yeah, so now I'm back in the boat. It's just really rainy right now. Still blowing like a stink. And there's now a couple of other boats anchored around me, so I'm not here alone. More to come. So in other news, a local girl and some guy that just blew into town, apparently he's from Bahamas. He had just purchased a boat. It was a fairly large trawler, or that couldn't have been a trawler, it was kind of a speedboat, but a large speedboat. And they took off across the Sea of Abaco, going towards the mainland apparently, and run aground, and she was killed. So I don't know how anybody found them, but he was rushed to the hospital, and there's no other word from on the internet exactly what happened or the cause of the accident, but I think clearly there was a picture of the boat, and it was smashed. The front end was smashed, and I guess the passengers that were in it, they hit the front windshield, so it had glass windows in the front, I guess. Yeah, it had a big hole in it, and it ran onto the rocks. So yeah, it was after dark, so you really have to be careful. You need charts, and if this guy just got his boat, he shouldn't be flying around at night with not the right navigation equipment, I'm suspecting. Walking down the street, and I come across this old jail. So just can't really get inside there. It looks like they got Christmas ornaments in one of the places here, but looks pretty ominous. Not much ventilation.
Take a walk down by the sea.